Little sunshine may come back tomorrow afternoon, and then even more on Wednesday. I've got your 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Dan, thanks.
So rain made the debris recovery process difficult at the scene of this weekend's deadly mid-air crash of 2 vintage planes at Dallas Executive Airport, but investigators did make some progress.
Also, the names of all 6 victims were officially released today. Fox 4's Alex Boyer is live with today's developments. Alex.
Hi, guys. Rain did delay part of the on-site investigation today. Still, investigators were able to recover part of the wreckage. An NTSB spokesman today did say that he believes that the pilots were in communication before the crash. We now know the names of all 6 people killed in a mid-air crash at the annual Wings Over Dallas Air Show on Saturday. They are Terry Barker, Craig Hutane, Kevin Michaels, Dan Regan, Leonard Root, and Kurt Rowe. On Monday, Root's best friend came out to a growing memorial at the edge of Dallas Executive Airport to pay his respects.
It's really hard to know that I've just lost my best friend here, one of my best friends, and knowing that he will we'll never have him around again in our life.
Root was among the 5 men on board a World War II-era bomber that was struck by a fighter plane piloted by Hutane. Both planes crashed into a ball of flames, horrifying spectators who had gathered for the air show that opened on Veterans Day. Arbor says he last spoke with Root on Thursday, who invited him on board that doomed flight. Arbor had a previous engagement.
It's something that he loved to do, and that's the way the good Lord took him to heaven.
On Monday, members of the National Transportation Safety Board updated the media on the status of the investigation.
We have recovered the wreckage of the P-63 as of this morning, and it has been transported to a secure location.
That's the smaller of the 2 vintage planes. The recovered pieces will be laid out for analysis at a secure location. NTSB member Michael Graham said rain has delayed further recovery of the much larger B-17.
The recovery process will continue tomorrow, weather permitting.
The NTSB also says it obtained the air show frequency recording to examine communications among the show participants. And while neither aircraft had flight data recorders, the so-called black box, Graham said investigators did recover an electronic flight display from the B-17 and a GPS navigational unit from the P-63.
Data that these type of units may have, and I say the word may here, may have, would be things like GPS location, possible altitudes of the aircraft, and the airspeeds of the aircraft.
Meanwhile, back at the memorial, David Arbor is eager for answers about what went wrong in the air that fateful Saturday, taking the lives of his buddy and 5 others.
It's very hard to cope with, and that's why I'm here today, to give sympathy to the family members.
And the NTSB continues to ask that anyone who has video of the impact, please contact them. A preliminary report is expected in the next several weeks, although I'm told that a final report will not be ready for at least the next 12 to 18 months. Back to you.
All right, Alex Boyer, live very near the scene of that accident. Thanks, Alex.
A Fort Worth police officer has been fired after an investigation found he lied about the amount of time he worked. According to the investigation, Officer Eddie Telez was working an off-duty security job and documented that he worked almost 5 hours. But security camera footage apparently shows he only worked 20 minutes. When he was questioned, he told investigators he had to leave early because of a family emergency. It was later determined there was no emergency. He was let go from the department at the end of the investigation.
Airport security agents will have to undergo some training reviews after a passenger with box cutters made threats on board a flight. The passenger was arrested Friday after the flight was diverted to Atlanta. It departed from Cincinnati, where TSA says the suspect went through security screening with 2 backpacks. TSA says 2 box cutters made it through without being identified on the scanning equipment. Even worse, TSA says its agents did a secondary bag search and found 1 box cutter, but just removed the blades and returned the cutter itself, the tool, to the passenger. The second box cutter was never detected. TSA says it will reinforce proper procedures for using the scanning equipment and confiscating prohibited items. Freshman lawmakers today went to Capitol Hill as Republicans and Democrats will soon pick their leaders as the runoff campaign in Georgia for senator there is underway. Fox's Madeline Rivera reports from Washington.
After winning hard-fought elections, new House members are now in Washington for freshman orientation. It's the latest sign that Congress is pushing on, even as control of the House remains unclear. GOP members are already planning to hold leadership elections Tuesday as they inch closer to taking the lower chamber.
I think that everything I've been told is we'll have a majority. It'll be very narrow, and Kevin will be the speaker.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is currently running unopposed for speaker, but he could face some challenges after a disappointing midterm showing.
All of these commitments to him were based on the fact that this was going to be a red wave, and yet we're on the other side of Tuesday, and it didn't turn out that way. And I think that's one of the reasons why Kevin McCarthy right now does not have the vote.
Senate Republicans are also struggling with a rift after Democrats clinched the upper chamber over the weekend. Some are throwing their support behind Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
To be the man, you got to beat the man. And so far, no one's had the nerve to step forward and challenge Senator McConnell.
While others say holding elections before the runoff in Georgia is premature.
It'd be preposterous to hold elections before we even know that we have a senator from Georgia. You know, we need to do a real assessment of what went wrong.
McCarthy will ultimately need 218 votes when the new Congress is sworn in January to become Speaker, which may be an uphill climb. Meanwhile, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi hasn't yet mentioned whether she'd run for another term as Democratic leader. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox 4 News.
After a 3-hour meeting between President Biden and Chinese leader Xi Jinping, both say they are open to restoring communications, looking for ways to coexist despite differences. The two met in Indonesia, the first time they've met in person since President Biden took office. During the meeting, they talked about the war in Ukraine and North Korean missile tests. The White House also says President Biden objected to China's actions against the self-governing island of Taiwan and raised human rights concerns as well.
We're going to compete vigorously. But I'm not looking for conflict. I'm looking to manage this competition responsibly. And I want to make sure that every country abides by the international rules of the road.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken will travel to China soon. President Biden says it's part of an effort to keep discussions going between the two countries. A major shakeup in leadership at Customs and Border Protection just days after the midterm elections. The commissioner is stepping down right after refusing to quit. Just days ago, he was told to step down or he'd be fired. Fox's Mike Tobin has more.
The head of Customs and Border Protection resigns. Commissioner Chris Magnus stepping down over the weekend, just a day after he refused to quit when asked by Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to step down or be fired. The resignation comes just days after the midterm elections.
He's just a scapegoat because this administration has gotten a significant amount of bad press because of this issue. So they had to do something to give the pretense that they're actually taking this issue seriously.
Magnus submitted his resignation to the White House on Saturday, saying it was, quote, a privilege and honor to be part of the Biden administration. Deputy Commissioner Troy Miller is expected to take over as interim chief. He brings to the job decades of experience in counterterrorism and intelligence. It's good news for critics who say Magnus didn't do enough to stem the rising tide of illegal migrant crossing at the border this year.
Magnus was not qualified for this position. He had been a law enforcement officer, but of no real significance.
Magnus' departure is reportedly part of a larger shakeup at Homeland Security. Despite the changes, many don't believe the situation at the border will improve.
Until Congress gets their act together and does something, whether it's, impeaching Mayorkas or whether it's, cutting budgets or making sure that there's a priority on securing our border, this problem is going to continue.
The shakeup at CBP comes as the White House is preparing for a Republican-controlled House, which is expected to launch investigations into the chaos at the border. In Eagle Pass, Texas, Mike Tobin, Fox 4 News.
All right, here's a live look outside. The rain is, for the most part, lifted in our area, but the cold is here to stay for a while. 42, I think it was 44 when we started this morning. It's not going to get any warmer today, that's for sure. Dan Henry, our chief meteorologist, will have a closer look. And the rest of the forecast, too. Right back.
Police apprehend a suspect in connection with a deadly shooting on the campus of the University of Virginia. I'm David Spunt in Charlottesville. That story coming up.
Fox 4 is everywhere for you. Download the Fox 4 News app powered by A#1 Air.
Get up to $3,000 cash back on a new system or up to $100 off heating and air conditioning or electrical repair. A#1 Air, an official partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Call 1-800-NEW-HEAT or visit A#1air.com.
We're finally about to live our fantasy.
Hold on! Is he gonna be okay?
911, all new tonight on Fox.
At the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event, you can make maintenance cost worries so last year. Hurry in to lease a new 2023 Tiguan for 0 down, 0 deposit, 0 first month's payment, and 0 do it signing. Limited inventory available.
Thanks to Chase, Angie's not sweating this text since there's 0 overdraft fees if she overdraws by $50 or less. And Kyle? Well, he's keeping calm with another day to adjust his balance if he overdraws by more than $50. Overdraft assist from Chase. Make more of what's yours.
We signed up for Frontier Gig Fiber in our new home.
Yeah, no more worries about our internet freezing.
Wait, your internet doesn't freeze? Sorry, you were saying...
Change to fiber. Change to better. Upgrade to Frontier Gig service and get a $200 Visa reward card on us.
At the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event, you can make maintenance cost worries so last year. Hurry in to lease a new 2023 Tiguan for 0 down, 0 deposit, 0 first month's payment, and 0 do it signing. Limited inventory available.
Next extra, Christina Applegate gets a star, making her first appearance since going public with MS. Next extra.
Tonight at 6:30 on Fox 4.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate's the easiest way to sell your home. Go to our website, fill out a quick form, we'll set an appointment and bring you an all-cash offer. It's that simple. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
2023 Nissan Pathfinder and Rogue. With a range of drive modes and intelligent off-road technology, you can take a Sunday stroll in the least basic of places. The 2023 Nissan family of SUVs. Anything but basic.
Now get no payments for 90 days on Rogue with best-in-class fuel economy among gas engines.
This is the Cook Children's you can see. This is the Cook Children's you can feel. Alive with the magic of connection. Helping children grow up healthier by connecting them to care in more ways than ever before. Seeing the world through their eyes and making it a little brighter. At Cook Children's, we are creating life-changing connections every day. Turns out, you can feel them and see them if you know where to look.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate's the simplest way to sell your home. There's no lockbox on your door, there's no showings, and we'll bring you an all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Fox 4 Weather is sponsored by your North Texas Hyundai dealers.
The suspect arrested for shooting and killing 3 members of the University of Virginia football team had once been on the team but had not been a part of the program for at least a year.
22-year-old Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. was arrested after a manhunt following the murders yesterday evening. As Fox's David Spunt reports, a motive is still unknown, but Jones was known for some questionable behavior.
A suspect is in custody in connection with a deadly shooting at the University of Virginia. Officials say it happened Sunday night on a charter bus on campus as students were returning from a field trip.
This is an unimaginably sad day for our community. When I see our students, I see my own kids. And I cannot imagine anything worse for a parent than to lose a child.
The 3 victims were all players for the UVA football team, identified as Lavelle Davis, Devin Chandler, and Deshaun Perry. 2 other students were also hurt. The shooting sparked an intense manhunt overnight into Monday morning. More than 500 students were forced to shelter in place for over 12 hours while police investigated.
Everybody was calling and texting their loved ones and making sure that everybody was fine.
Unfortunately, the time that we live in, these are kind of the things that we have to prepare for.
The suspect, Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., was a former player on the football team in 2018 and is still a student at the school.
We just received information the suspect is in custody.
He was arrested Monday morning in Henrico County, about 80 miles southeast of Charlottesville. Authorities say he had been on their radar after being involved in a hazing investigation. Jones was also known to the university's threat assessment team after making a remark about owning a gun in September. Police have not confirmed a motive, but those past incidents will certainly be part of the investigation. Jones is charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder. In Charlottesville, David Spunt, Fox 4 News.
18 children and a bus driver were injured after a bus drove off the road and hit an embankment in eastern Kentucky today. The bus was carrying students ranging from elementary school to high school. The injured were taken by helicopter and ambulance to hospitals, some with critical injuries. State police say no other vehicles were involved, and it's unclear what caused the crash.
Jay Leno is said to be recovering from several burns caused by a gasoline accident in his garage over the weekend. Leno, a known car enthusiast, was in his Los Angeles area garage Sunday when one of his cars burst into flames without warning. The burn center where he's being treated released a statement saying he suffered burns on his hands and face. They say he is in good humor and wanted to let people know he's doing well. In a statement to Variety, Leno told the magazine he's okay and needs a week or two to get back on his feet.
Take a peek at some rainfall totals from our weather trackers. Vance out in Forney with about 2/3 of an inch of rain. Steve Clark in Bedford, nearly a ½ inch of rainfall. Mark out in central Rockwall County, same story there, 0.49 inches. Don Niblett in Decatur, 0.45, and Marianne Champney in McKinney with about a ¼ inch of rainfall. It was actually a little snow mixed with the rain as he headed north of the Red River. Our Michael Beard up in Pauls Valley earlier today. Those are heavy, wet flakes of snow. Very doubtful if that was sticking on the surface with temperatures above freezing, but a little early to see some wintry mix here across the area. Here's a look at high temperatures over the next 5 days. Even though we will be drying things out, we're going to stay well below average temperature-wise this week into the upcoming weekend. Tomorrow, 49, low 50s on Wednesday. Our modest warm-up continues with more sunshine into the day on Thursday. And then another reinforcing shot of chilly air. Early Friday morning will keep us in the upper 40s both Friday and Saturday. Here's the regional view, and you can see that snow with the rain across southern and southeastern Oklahoma right now. They had accumulating snow up in western Oklahoma that really did a number on some roadways, especially north of Interstate 40. But from Tyler to Alexandria, Louisiana, up towards Little Rock, it's all cold rain like we witnessed here in North Texas. While the precipitation is pretty much over with now, aside from some very light rain up in far northeastern and eastern portions of the area, east of Athens and Henderson County, most of us will see a dry evening here. Currently, it's 39 in McKinney and Greenville, 42 at this hour at DFW, and 44 out to our west in Mineral Wells. 45, that was it for a high temperature today, a full 22 degrees below the average of 67 for this time of the year. Looking out there right now, still have cloudy skies. 39 Mesquite, 40 Denton, lower 40s in both Dallas and in Fort Worth. Winds are light northeast at 8, and the humidity right now at 85%. So overnight tonight, most of us are going to stay above freezing with the cloud cover in place. Far western areas and northwest could see a light freeze, for instance, up around Jacksboro down to around 30 overnight tonight. It'll be close in Bridgeport at about 33, 35 in Sherman. We'll fall down to around 37 to 38 here in the Metroplex, and right around 37 early tomorrow morning in Kaufman. So Futurecast shows tomorrow will be a dry day. Cloudy skies in the morning. There'll be a few breaks in the clouds during the afternoon. There may be a few spots that could legitimately call it partly sunny during the afternoon. I think more hope for more sunshine as we head into the afternoon on Wednesday, and that sun this time of the year will do the trick with temperatures warming into the 50s. Starting out around 37 degrees around sunrise, so we'll hit a high temperature tomorrow of about 49. 52 Wednesday, 56 on Thursday, turning cooler again both Friday and Saturday, and will remain dry and still cool right through Monday of next week. Highs by then in the mid-50s.
Dan, thank you. Twitter is pausing its new Twitter Blue plan that would allow anyone to be verified on the social media giant. We're going to talk about that coming up on Fox 4 News at 5.
Never lose power again with the purchase and installation of a whole home generator from Baker Brothers Plumbing, Air and Electric. For a free estimate, call or visit us online today.
Baker Brothers makes great service fun.
There's never been a better time to get away. With a great deal on the Hyundai you've always wanted. With America's best warranty and up to 3 years complimentary maintenance. It's your journey. Own every mile at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry in to get our best deals of the season. Get in and get away. Get 0% APR on the 2023 Sonata or Elantra, plus 0 payments for 90 days. Visit buyhyundai.com today.
I wasn't sure if a retirement community was right for us. I thought that's where you went to stop being independent. Highland Springs changed my mind. Everything we need is right here.